Top stories tonight. Prime Minister Robina Nabanja assures UAE investors of Uganda's vast investment prospects. Police crackdown on bus drivers over the badge rule leaves passengers stranded at bus terminals. Some opposition party leaders sign joint statement over Dr. Besigye trial at the Army Court. And in sports, the African Netball Cup starts with Uganda narrowly losing to Zimbabwe. Hello there and welcome once again. I am Rukidi Kiijanangoma. Now, the Prime Minister of Uganda, Right Honorable Nabanja Robina, has assured investors from the United Arab Emirates that Uganda has vast investment opportunities for them to exploit. Nabanja was officiating the first Dubai Chamber International Forum at Sheraton Hotel, Kampala. Now, the meeting is a follow-up of the business trip that Prime Minister made recently to Dubai, where she invited the investors to come and invest their money in Uganda. We begin with this story.
Nabanja says it is important to take a moment to appreciate the achievements between our two nations. In 2023, trade between UAE and Uganda surged to over $3.8 billion, an incredible milestone that was largely driven by both nations. The Premier says that the foreign direct investment from UAE to Uganda is worth $3 billion in energy, infrastructure, healthcare, agribusiness, oil and gas, manufacturing, construction, real estate, and tourism, and assured the investors the potential investment opportunities.
I want to inform you that Uganda's economy is expected to grow from about 50 billion US dollars in 2023 to US dollars 500 billion by the year 2040. In conclusion, by the way, in the near future, when we team together, brothers and sisters, Uganda is going to be a developed country in the near future, by all standards, because Uganda is gifted by nature. Everything you see here is God-given. And so please come and invest in our country.
Nabanja says that she is optimistic that the forum will achieve its main objective of facilitating dialogue between the Ugandan and UAE governments and the private sector from both countries to foster trade and investment.
I call for greater collaboration as we move forward and urge all stakeholders, government officials, business leaders, private sector to embrace the vast opportunities that lie between Uganda and the UAE. We have the chance to build a lasting partnership that go beyond economic transactions and foster shared knowledge, expertise, and innovation.
The president of the Dubai International Chamber says they are ready to further the collaboration between Uganda and UAE in trade and investment.
To Uganda, the Pearl of Africa. Uganda is an important trading partner for Dubai. Last year we witnessed a very good value in terms of non-oil bilateral trade reaching 1.2 billion US dollar. Majority of the exports from Uganda to Dubai is led by gold and coffee and other agri-food.
Haji Zake Wanume Chibedi, Uganda's ambassador to the UAE, says that Ugandans need to take up trade opportunities and cordial relationships to utilize the commercial hub in Dubai.
UAE, as you are well aware, it has positioned itself as a commercial hub, a global commercial hub. And as a result, we are stepping up efforts to ensure that Uganda benefit most out of these channels for trade, for investment and tourism that have been created as a result of positioning themselves as a commercial hub. I'll give you an example. Through our program of promoting economic and commercial diplomacy, UAE now has officially become #1 market destination for Ugandan products in the whole world. Not Middle East alone, but in the whole world.
At the meeting, Dubai Chamber of Commerce signed an MOU with their counterpart Uganda Chamber of Commerce to foster trade and investment.
Now, passengers were stranded at various bus terminals in Kampala following police enforcement of the badge rule for bus drivers. The crackdown on bus drivers to obtain mandatory badges halted transport operations as drivers without badges rushed to obtain documentation before resuming work.
Last week, the Ministry of Works and Transport issued a stern warning to all bus drivers to comply with a regulation requiring them to possess a driver's badge issued by the Ministry of Transport. Starting December 4th, traffic officers at checkpoints nationwide inspected bus drivers for compliance. Non-compliant drivers are not allowed to carry passengers. The bus owners and drivers insist that the abrupt enforcement has caused extensive delays.
If you stop drivers from driving buses in this festive season, it means the whole year is dead. It's a dead year for our employers and we as the bus drivers. So for us, we think we are just requesting the Ministry of Works and Transport or the authorities at least to allow us, at least we drive up to maybe March. Then we see how we can get those badges gradually, even if we are opposing that badge, because the features which are on that badge are the same features which are on the driving license. Because this badge was
we're never consulted, even the drivers were never consulted. So we are going to, through our members of parliament, we are going to appeal so that these registers are revisited. Because it's unfair. For sure, somebody is driving and say he's 65, he should stop driving, and somebody, one in the trailer is driving, and my car is driving on the same road. So that's unfair. Somebody is driving his own car, is beyond 70, is driving, and even the permit has no age limit. First of all, if they want to enforce it, the permit should have age limit if they want it like that. But if not, we need to appeal on this one.
Constitutionally, driving permit is the one which is known. A badge I don't know. Because even if you go to court, a judge will not ask you a badge, will ask you a driving permit. So me, I don't know.
A senior public relations officer at the Ministry of Works and Transport, Susan Kataiki, said the operation highlights government's resolution to tighten road safety ahead of the festive season.
And what we should realize is that what is being done for the good of the drivers, the good of the bus owners, and the good of the people of Uganda. We know that some of these drivers do not qualify to drive these buses. So that's why government is insisting that for anybody to drive these buses, they should have a badge. By the time you're given a badge, it proves that you're competent enough to drive that bus.
Every year, Ugandans travel to their villages to celebrate Christmas. Buses remain the most popular mode of transport for travelers. Crispus Arinitwe, Wangira Clement, UBC News.
Now, the Mufti of Uganda, Sheikh Ramadan Shaban Mubaji, has said that there is need to contribute to the stability of Islam both in Uganda and beyond. He was speaking during the International Conference on Contemporary Issues in Islamic Jurisprudence at the Uganda Muslim Supreme Council UMSC headquarters at Old Kampala. The conference is hosting Islamic leaders and scholars from over 20 countries as part of UMSC's 50th anniversary celebrations. The conference addresses how Islamic practices can adapt to the challenges of contemporary society with discussions grounded in fatwas or Islamic legal decrees. Take a watch.
وقالوا سمعنا وأطعنا غفرانك.
تقديرا لجهود سماحته هنا في الدعوة والتعليم والإفتاء.
Happy to inform that the celebrations are ongoing. They have started. We started with a corporate dinner at Speak Resort Hotel Munyonyo, which brought together a number of different people, the entrepreneurs, the professionals, the elites, and all Muslims and non-Muslims sat down together, had a meal, and also discussed Islam. Today, an international scholars conference has started here at Old Kampala, and it brings together scholars from all over Africa and other continents, and they are discussing contemporary jurisprudential issues. We believe this is an opportunity for Africa to be able to develop its own homegrown resolutions and guidance on Islamic issues. And the conference is going to be 2 days. It will be addressed by a number of scholars from different countries and also academia here in Uganda. It has been opened by the Secretary General of the International Fiqh Academy.
Olwaleero tugudde olukuŋŋaana tabamiruka olw'abamanyi abasiraamu mufti kuva ku lukalu lwa Afrika n'ebweru. Era wano twogera tulina bamufti abawera 30 ab'amawanga ag'enjawulo okuva mu Afrika bazze kwetaba mu lukuŋŋaana lw'abamanyi nga kyegendererwa ky'okubeera nti ng'abamanyi ba Afrika obusiraamu bwaffe tubwetegerere nga tubujja mu Kulaani ne Hadisi. Entegera y'obusiraamu, entaputa y'obusiraamu ereme kutufuukira ensonga etwawulayawula. Kaakati ekyo kye kimu ku mulamu omunene ogw'okuŋŋaanyiza abamanyi abo mu lukuŋŋaana tabamiruka olusookedde ddala.
That these celebrations are happening exactly the same way we have been informing and inviting people. The only change that we are going to see is the venue. We have been reliably informed that Kololo ceremonial grounds reconstruction has not yet been completed. For that reason, we are going to be holding our celebrations here at Old Kampala. We think that is also a blessing in disguise because it will help all the people who are coming to join into the celebrations to have the opportunity to visit and tour this very, very important site in Islam.
Matters pertaining to health now, and 13 new HIV/AIDS cases have been discovered within ministries, departments and agencies after a comprehensive 6-month survey by the AIDS Information Center. An official from the AIDS Information Center, Ivan Inume, says that the most affected government institutions include the Ministry of ICT, Judiciary and the Electoral Commission. Inume made this revelation during the launch of a health camp at the office of the Prime Minister here in Kampala.
665. The survey designed to assess civil servants' health and raise awareness on non-communicable diseases including HIV, on public servants within ministries, departments and agencies.
How many have died of HIV? The number is almost none. So the most important thing is, once you get to know your status, it becomes easier to manage it and to prevent it from passing to others, and also because actually if you get to know your status with good health care, you can actually live longer.
In a recent 6-month study by the AIDS Information Center, only 1,000 civil servants participated and 13 of them tested HIV positive.
In the last 6 months, we've worked with the Ministry of ICT, we've worked with the Electoral Commission, we've worked with the Judiciary, we've worked with OPM, that is in the World Triangle, and then also other departments in the government. And over the last six months, we've tested over 1,000 people. Here we're looking at the staff of these MDAs and then also the immediate communities. So out of the over 1,000 that we tested, we found out that 13 had HIV, and these were new cases.
The trend has been attributed to the reduced usage of condoms, despite government's efforts to supply them in all ministries, departments and agencies.
The problem has been that these condoms, when we take condoms to these people, they are put in public spaces and they cannot just go and pick. When someone has put a condom, let's say in public here, they cannot just come and pick a condom and use them. But for us, we put these condom dispensers in the strategic places like in toilets, in those corners where a person can go and easily get this condom.
The Office of the Prime Minister, in partnership with other stakeholders, held a 3-day health camp aimed at screening, and raising awareness on non-communicable diseases.
Well, when you look at staff, you look at our human resource, you look at what we are going through as a country and as individuals, we thought this would be a good way to close our year. But everyone knows where you are health-wise, what we need to do, where we need to go. So the health camp is actually to prepare us for the new year.
Oko Joseph, UBC.
Uganda National Cultural Center, Uganda Communications Commission and Uganda Police have resolved to blacklist musicians who sing immoral music and ban the songs. This was during a stakeholders meeting at the Uganda National Cultural Center offices here in Kampala. We have more in this story.
Musicians Garrison Wabui, also known as Graftom Tojo, and Mukasa Yasin, also known as Lily Puzzle, have turned down the invitation by Uganda National Cultural Center, where they were supposed to clarify on their music. This stakeholders meeting passed a number of resolutions, including blacklisting the musicians.
It has been resolved that all artists who are singing vulgar songs, example, the ones who were invited and they didn't come, they are going to be blacklisted from the shows, and that is why the promoters are here, from the media and from publicizing their music. The second resolution is that police, Ministry of Ethics and Uganda Communications Commission are to summon these artists for some statements.
All media platforms have been directed that it is a crime to publish or broadcast prohibited obscene content.
When we say all media providers, all providers of content to the public should not publish this content, it applies to all. The regulated TVs and radios, the people who are doing online TVs, online radios, even individuals that are running social media accounts, you should desist from publishing this information, because if you do, although you may not be licensed by UCC, under the law, it is an offense for you to publish prohibited content.
Uganda Police will summon the two musicians to record a statement.
The committee has resolved that police should invite the two artists to record their statements and to find out the true meaning of what they meant in their songs. We shall decide when to summon them for interviews and for statement recording, and I cannot confirm that it will be on such and such a date before I consult my other colleagues back at Kampala Metropolitan Police.
Content of bad taste does not align with Ugandan culture, norms, values, and the creative sector. Winnie Ainembaba's Katwire and Dan Lugemwa for UBC.
Sebei Cultural Institution has launched a safe male circumcision as an alternative to end female genital mutilation. Led by the Sabini cultural leader Peter Swilke and partners, the Sabini cultural leadership asserts that with safe male circumcision, the Sabini leadership will institute a mechanism of curbing the suffering and humiliation of the girl child.
Anna Lomanyang, 49 years old, a defender advocating for disabled children in Karamoja, highlighted the rampant land grabbing targeting marginalized communities. Anna recounted how she narrowly escaped a lynching by warriors mobilized by a tycoon after she resisted land encroachment. She said widows risk losing land if they reject cultural practices like widow inheritance.
The Karamojons, who are tycoons, who are educated. You know, most of our people are not educated. So now you find the educated people who are working, who are having jobs, take advantage over the vulnerable people. They come and deceive. Of course, they're using money. And you find if you don't have money, you lose. Then secondly, also, we have also other people from outside who are coming in. But it's through our own very people who are bringing them. And of course, the land is now out in Karamoja. You find everyone wants land there. So now, if you don't have money to go to court, if someone has taken your land, you lose. a tycoon had mobilized warriors, and each warrior was paid money to lynch me as soon as the meeting was starting. But good enough, the DPC got the message immediately. DPC rushed there with its personnel.
And just like her colleagues, endures intimidation and violence in her fight for justice. Over the time, efforts to enact a law protecting human rights defenders have failed.
Otherwise, where it is now, it is at the mercy of government, the mercy of the security forces, the mercy of local government officers. You do not know which law guides us. We don't know which law guides us as human rights defenders, and that law is being long overdue.
There is some progress, but there's a lot to be done. The biggest progress we can ever talk about human rights in this country is the laws and policies.
As Uganda approaches its election period, defenders have urged security agencies to uphold press freedom.
We've had a lot of attacks on journalists during campaigns from within the government and without the government, but most importantly from the security forces.
As we all normally approach elections, civil liberties are always under threat and attack. And therefore the advice I can give government is to recognize the role played by human rights defenders. After all, they are even helping the government.
Financial constraints also hinder their work, while global reports like those from Frontline Defenders and Freedom House rank Uganda poorly, citing impunity, torture, and judicial inefficiency. Crispus Adenitwe, UBC News.
We do apologize for the mix-up of the stories there, but that story that has just run was not about the Sebei Cultural Institution. Rather, it was about the human rights defenders who have decried Uganda's failure to address gross human rights violations despite repeated promises made during global summits to improve its record. The call was made during the commemoration of International Human Rights Defenders Day held at Speak Resort, Munyonyo. Now let's go to our next story, and that is Jenga Taifa. Veterans, children and wives of soldiers have been trained on the benefits of environmental protection and the use of technology to achieve this goal. The event, held at Pan-African Square in Kampala, also focused on strategies to eliminate poverty while promoting sustainable practices to protect the environment.
Various organizations joined hands with Jenga Taifa in this initiative, including Zimba, UGAS, Harambe Sacco, Housing Finance, Red Apple UPDF, the National Forestry Authority, and others. Participants were equipped with practical knowledge to boost their livelihoods while contributing to environmental conservation.
You mentioned your honey projects. I'm bringing for you 2 other projects that I know he'll be happy. Through You Will, we have people who want to buy honey and they want to buy goats. So if you have any product in this value chain, if you need hives or if you need to buy goats, once you've gone through the process of finishing to pay a stove, you can get other products through our platform.
Mariam Naguja, Jenga Taifa's chairperson, emphasized the role of beekeeping and chicken rearing as effective tools for poverty eradication. She pledged ongoing support to help participants transform their lives. She also urged all Ugandans to work together by planting trees to realize the President's vision for a green environment by 2040.
So that's why for us, Jenga Taifa, we don't only focus on women, but we focus on the growth of Uganda, or to everyone. Our members, or we have told them to start the worm keeping or maggot keeping in order to increase on their income.
David Kasitwa, Managing Director of Red Apple, highlighted the environmental benefits of using gas in households.
700 and 500 a day to cook the same meal which you would have cooked with 4,000. At the end of the day, a Ugandan saves using electricity, not the primitive way where you used to say that cooking on electricity is expensive. There are modern equipment which are cheap at 350, between that range.
Crispus Arinitwe, Jamil Sekaja, UBC News.
Now, experts have described women as key stakeholders in environmental protection and management if given better opportunities to access and own land in families. In practice, boys take precedence over their sisters in determining who benefits from their father's land in disguise of culture, a factor that limits their zeal for climate change mitigation through tree planting. Our reporter Joseph Odama explores the mystery surrounding the cultural mischiefs of denying women the right to own land and how its participation it's precipitating hazardous climate change.
As the world population rapidly grows, a lot of pressure is exerted on the natural environment, being evidenced by exploitation of the natural resources for human survival. The 2024 data by the United Nations showed the world having 8.1 billion people, with Uganda contributing 46 million people. Of these, 23.4 million are women and 22.4 million men, according to Uganda Bureau of Statistics Report 2024. With these findings, experts regard women as people who have more interactions with the environment through agriculture and gathering wood fuel amidst limitations of land ownership.
I must say land is owned by men, and that is a culture. And you see, the biggest percentage of the farmers that are actively engaged are women, though they don't own land.
According to 2017 Population Matter by the United Nations Population Fund, only 27% of women in Uganda have access to registered land, despite the majority of them being engaged in agriculture. Most traditions in Uganda transfer land ownership through inheritance, succession, and donations, but the various cultures and customs prioritize ownership and rights of family land to boys that experts look at as a factor affecting the fight against climate change.
Much as they access land through their husbands to farm, they still face challenges. There are those that have come to my office and telling me my husband is not allowing me to plant trees because they look at trees as a permanent investment.
Professor Robert Kajobe, the Director Graduate Research Training and Innovations at Muni University with an environmental background, explains.
Now, because the women are the ones tilling the land, over 70% of the ones are the ones producing. If the people who are engaged in agriculture, 70% are not planting trees, that one affects the climate directly. So women should be able to own land so that they can plan properly and invest and plant trees.
Culturally, women's fate remains to possess secondary rights based on their relationship with the male landowner, like a husband, in case the woman cannot buy her own land to have authority over. Many women in Uganda have testimonies of being denied access to family land, with the worst scenarios being among uneducated women.
Men still believe that maybe women were gotten from their ribs. It deprives women from having total control of the land so that you are able to plant trees.
Harold Achema, formerly a Ugandan ambassador, now turned an opinion writer with a Daily Monitor newspaper, gives a journalistic perspective on how societal systems can empower women in environmental protection and management through land ownership.
Sustainable Development Goals. Goal number 5 is on gender equality. And really today in the 21st century, my view is that there should be no discrimination in terms of who owns land. In fact, today, most of the people who are involved in agriculture, in fact, I think according to UBOS, 80% of people in rural areas. So really, I think women should have as much rights to own land as men.
Lugbara Chiefdom is one of the biggest cultural institutions in the Western Nile sub-region of Uganda. To understand the Lugbara cultural perspective of land inheritance and distribution in families, I spoke to the Prime Minister of the Chiefdom, Ismail Tuku.
It is a very challenging subject. The Lugbara perspective is that this girl has a right as the boy she gets her first piece of land from the parents. She calls it her garden. When she moves across to another clan to get married, this girl leaves the piece of land in full support of the family. And once you are given this bride price by your father, you know that the idea behind it was to say that you are responsible for the issues of this sister of yours. The food, stuff grown in her new home may not do very well like her own from the parent side. And she normally entrusts the family back to grow for her crops that do not do well. And should the marriage become sour, should she divorce or be divorced, this girl will not go anywhere else but come back home to settle on the piece of land she had.
Despite having equal rights in owning family land in the Lugbara tradition, boys are evidently seen claiming inheritance of their father's land, leaving girls out of the picture.
There are families that receive their daughters back, their sisters back with both hands, and there are those who chase them back. Somebody comes and says, "We had given you to another clan." This is partly because of one, greed. Two, she must have lost the parents.
Articles 26, 33 and 237 of the 1995 Constitution of Uganda gives equal opportunities for men and women to have equal rights to property ownership, including land. Rehema Minala is a legal officer with the FIDA Uganda who has given legal insights on how land ownership by women can improve environmental justice.
So for a woman to own property, she can obtain it in different ways. One, she can purchase it. She can get it as a gift from a relative, a parent, a friend. She can also inherit that property. So if they have that land and they know it's theirs, they will dig, they will plant trees.
State Minister of Lands in charge of urban development, Obiga Mario Kania, says the Lands Ministry is equally concerned about the worsening climate change and the urgent need for environmental protection, where women are seen pivotal in the cause.
We planned the whole country nationally, where what crops, what trees, what human activities could be done in a particular place. You know, when so many people come in one area called an urban area, there's some urban center, they have a lot of impact on the environment. So the idea that women cannot hold land is wrong. In terms of environmental protection and ownership of land, women are extremely central. And women are more sensitive to these things, particularly women in the rural areas. They rely on the environment a lot for whatever they want to do. Whether it is collection of firewood, whether it's collection of water. Therefore, if women are empowered to own property, on land, to own trees, they are in a better position to protect the land and conserve it. We must accept that these all cultures which are negative should be done away with.
Lack of ownership of land is seen as a factor that demoralizes women in planting and protecting trees as a practice to mitigate climate change. Joseph Fodama, UBC News.
Thanks, Joseph, for that elaborate story there. Now, State Minister for Lands, Sam Mayanja, has advised born-again Christians to stick to the 5 main pillars of Christianity that include loving one's neighbor and reading the Bible. This was during the climax of the 15th annual gathering of Nations Bible Believers International Conference at Caring Heart Victory Community Church on Kagula Hill, Kachiri in Wakiso District.
Give Jesus the praise.
After 8 days of ministering and devotion, the 15th annual gathering of Nations Bible Believers International Conference at Caring Heart Victory Community Church in Kakiri has climaxed. Its closing was graced by State Minister for Lands, Dr. Sam Mayanja, who implored born-again Christians to be the light that saves the world from decay.
It has been well attended. The theme has been going back to the Bible truth. Righteousness exalts a nation, Sin is a reproach to anybody. It is, however rich can, if tomorrow our petrol starts flowing and we sell, we get diamonds, we get all the minerals from Karamoja and what? If righteousness is not here, then those will be a reproach. They will come a curse to us.
Caring Heart Victory Community Church lead pastor Paul Musisi hailed all that took part in this conference that during its running ministered to over 10,000 people live, online, and on television.
But the purpose and the vision of this conference is to bring back the Bible truth. You know, to bring back the truth of the Bible. Because if we know the truth, the Bible says, you shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. People are in churches, but they are not free. They are demonized. They are having all kinds of tortures, emotional. One is because they have run away from the truth.
It was attended by pastors from several parts of the world, including America, Burundi, Kenya, Ghana, and Nigeria. Like in the Bible, this conference wasn't only about ministering, but also offered medical services to over 2,000 people, mainly children.
And today is the final day. We are distributing hope bags. So we came here with 600 bags filled with great things, goodies, toothpaste, clothing, toys, beautiful gifts, to just put a smile on their faces, you know. Many of these kids don't have anyone to give them gifts in the course of the year. Shoes were also given to them. So many of these kids don't have anybody to think of them.
The testimonies during its running were plenty, while many declared their devotion to Christ and became born again.
We'll now take a short break, but return with the latest in business. Stay with us.
To be a winner, it requires that you exceed all the limits of mankind and womankind. But when you play with MTN Momo, winning is easy. Simply get your phone and use the Momo app or dial *165*3#, enter merchant code, enter amount, enter your Momo PIN, and pay. Congratulations, easy! Your stomach is full, and now you stand a chance to win mobile money with MTN Momo.
Tuliku groundi, Plascon, paint and win. This year, Plascon paint and win. The kuku roundi. Chicho, buy paint worth 100K. Get a scratch card. SMS the code to 7197. Stand a chance to win instant airtime, 1 million shillings bully day, or a share of a 3 million shillings jackpot each week. What do you want the brand new podas, tuk-tuks, and so much more? Catch the paint and win action every Monday on Bukede One, NBS, and Sanyuka TV. Plascon, color your world.
Amazina ganje Ninyetekwa Seruhanga John Bosco ninduga mu district ya Rukungiri, ndio muhanguzi wa miliyoni 16 na Uganda National Rotary. Nzahangwire urwo mu kuzana *278# ngafuna message erikweka mu muhanguzi nashemererwa konka nabaza kugira ngo nedi y'abafere sente ziriyo zona bakaziteka nko nazihangwire.
Uganda National Lottery. Dream, play, win.
Participants must be 18 years or older. Play responsibly. The Uganda National Lottery is operated by Dubai-Uganda and regulated by the National Lotteries and Gaming Regulatory Board.
Welcome back, and this is News Tonight here on UBC TV. Let's have a look now at the latest in business. Dubai International Chamber has signed a memorandum of understanding with the Uganda National Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Uganda National Chamber of Commerce and Industry official Sarah Kigongo says the agreement explores expansion opportunities for Dubai-based businesses in Uganda. Sandra Kahunde gives us more.
This partnership marks a new chapter in strengthening trade relations. The Memorandum of Understanding outlines a framework to identify and unlock key investment opportunities, focusing on priority sectors such as trade, manufacturing and tourism.
The gold and from Dubai the machinery and vehicle, but we are not stopping at that. We are encouraging more bilateral cooperation around the tech sectors, especially the digital startups, and how can we help the young startups to grow and emerge in the digital economy. How can we use both Uganda and Dubai as a global platform for their expansion in East African community, in addition to Dubai and the Middle East and wider region.
People in the ICT. There are also people interested in mining. Those in mining, and Uganda's mining sector is still very young. I mean, the list is enormous. As far as I'm concerned, Uganda is actually very virgin when it comes to investments in this country, and you have to market ourselves more. There are people who don't even know that you have these things. So it's you, people, media, and I beg you kindly that at the end of the day, it's you who can excel Uganda.
Uganda's strategic location in East Africa positions it as a gateway to a regional market of over 300 million people, making it an attractive destination for businesses aiming to expand their footprint. For Uganda, this partnership promises foreign direct investment, industrial growth, job creation, and enhanced global trade connections.
Already there's a big opportunities in coffee, but they still need more. Apart from agriculture, there is tourism. Tourism, most of them actually don't know Uganda at all. The president of the Dubai Chamber tells me this is his first time to Uganda.
Expand into the African continent, in addition to have easy access for all of the African investors to enter Dubai market to benefit out of the global connectivity that Dubai offers, in addition to the well-advanced soft and hard infrastructure that will help us and help them in their international expansion plans.
As the agreement takes effect, both parties are optimistic about creating a sustainable roadmap for mutual economic growth and establishing Uganda as a vital trade partner in Dubai's global expansion strategy. Sandra Kahunde, Robert Katamba, News Tonight.
Now, the Parish Development Model Monitoring Team in Iganga has started evaluating the performance of beneficiaries ahead of President Yoweri Museveni's visit. Presidential Advisor on Mobilization, Colonel Retired Ambako Gibrai, told UBC that several beneficiaries have utilized PDM funds to transform their lives.
The monitoring started at Masawa Village, Iwawu Parish, Bulamaji Sub-County, with Babinga Rogers, aged 26 years, who invested PDM money in poultry farming. Rogers, who started with 100 chicks, expanded to 200, and he now earns 33,000 as profit from selling eggs.
Nava wansi no wenalindi nebonanga nanina kwa madala okusinzira wenalindi nebonanga sawa da kutenfuna kwa kasenta ko bulideire kubanga bwina kunfuna ku mutwalo mulala manya afuna ku mitwalo 3 ne ku 3 era nenyumiriza ino nsaba ni President Museveni anongere kwa kasente ntutumuke ku kusinzi unfe kwa no wenina kwa madala gandi mbenga sobola okusupplyinga ku etulediwere ekikumi plus mu Iganga district.
At Nawanyinje Sub-County and shared with Waliedusa Dan, who invested in piggery.
Mbidi de wendogere mbidi natandika nayo yakazala enfunda 3 kumikumi ene yindi yakazala enfunda 2 era yona ezala 10 sawa ya buliendogere ane mbidi nkaga na 2 mukasera katonotono kanu.
Dan used 600,000 part of PDM money and bought one pregnant pig, and later added on another one at 250,000, and the rest of the money was spent on feeding and treatment. Dan says he currently owns 62 pigs after selling some to pay school fees for his children.
Omwezi ogw'omunaana embiidi ina n'ateerayo ku abaana ku isomero n'agitundanga emitwalo 75 buli mbiidi naye era mu duuzi ogw'ekumi n'omulala nga ibiri ng'abaana babagobye ku masomero era n'atunda ku embiidi 3 ku mitwalo 30 buli.
In Chuguru North at Kabira village, there are two successful beneficiaries, Kasimu Mwesigwa and Hindu Kaziba, who invested in poultry.
Inambe kukubana okusomesa. Tewaza government nti yebale kiyatukolera. Ifo tufuire otuli kufayo ntiboneka nti twenda okuva mu bwavu nga baba bwe yasalawo okukoba ati atutole mu bwavu.
The presidential advisor on mobilization advised successful beneficiaries to expand their ventures.
An indication that the PDM can transform the people's life, can help the population to solve problems affecting them. So it is very advisable that the population take up the PDM program seriously.
Yusuf Obo compiled this story.
Stop breathing. To be a winner, you must breathe only when necessary. Breathing is for losers. What is that? Did I give you permission to sweat? You can sweat in your free time. Push the arms straight. Winning is hard, but with MTN Momo, it's easy. Simply pay or shop with Momo for a chance to win mobile money every day. Use the Momo app or dial *165*3#.
The Deposit Protection Fund of Uganda, DPF, is a legal entity established by the Government of Uganda under the Financial Institutions Act, Cap 57, to ensure that depositors are paid their protected deposits in the unlikely event of failure or closure of a contributing institution regulated by Bank of Uganda. Join us on UBC TV in a live talk show with the Deposit Protection Fund of Uganda on Tuesday the 10th of December 2024 at 9 a.m. to give insights and articulate issues about the mandate of the DPF, who is covered by the DPF, the protected deposit limit, update of depositors' records with their respective financial institutions, and how the DPF contributes to financial sector stability. The panelists will include Dr. Julia Claire Olima Oyet, the Chief Executive Officer, Deposit Protection Fund of Uganda, and Mr. Patrick Ezaga, the Director Communications, Deposit Protection Fund of Uganda. This message is brought to you by the Deposit Protection Fund of Uganda, DPF.
Welcome back, and an item on sports. And for the first time in the history of the game, Uganda Bridge Federation, the youngest in the country, is sending a team for an international competition. And the two pairs of Joseph Genza and Alex Lubandi and that of Rebecca Mirembe and Justin Moni are the lucky ones to contest at the East Africa Bridge Championship at the Oshwal Sports Center in Kenya.
Of course, we're very honored, all of us, that is our first international engagement. It's happening within the region, which is very good for us to bring the whole East African community together. We have 3 countries so far confirmed participating, that is Kenya, Tanzania, and ourselves here, Uganda. I'll give you something very interesting. We are the only country in Africa that is very active in the bridge. We started it like a joking thing, but we have a lot of excitement, so many players showing interest to participate in the bridge locally here. So that is an added plus to us. It has also helped us to meet the requirement from the National Council of Sports, which needs a coverage of 70%. We're almost achieving that as a bridge. Our expectations are very high. As any person who wants to participate, you want to win. We are creating an opportunity for athletes to network, to see how bridge can support them to grow their education pathways.
According to what we are having, we were given a bridge app. It's called Fun Bridge. We have tried a lot to practice online, We have went through different competitions whereby we're visiting universities. We had a national league. So for now, the people I'm taking, that I'm captaining, I've been playing with them. They are all from Ndeje. Ndeje has put a lot in the game to a point that we made it from the first to the third person. All of them were from Ndeje. So these people I'm taking, I'm trusting them because I've seen them doing the thing. I've seen them reading minds. And since this is a mind game, it needs you go when you know someone you're going to play with. It needs you go when you have the spirit of the game. It needs deep thinking, observation, and according to what I know that...
And with that, we've finally come to the end of this second and final edition of News Tonight here on UBC TV this Monday, the 9th day of December 2024. Thank you so much for having kept us company. I am Rukidi Kiijanangoma, wishing you a blessed night.
UBC, inspiring Uganda.
A new dawn on Behind the Headlines with me, Timothy Nyangweso. Every Wednesday, live in our studios in the heart of Kampala. We have conversations that have analysis, explanation, but not every truth is fact, and not every fact is truth. Every Wednesday, 10 p.m. on your public broadcaster.
All on your public broadcaster. UBC, inspiring Uganda. In a nation hungry for truth, a world